Hey y'all, welcome to Bladen County.
Today we're going to make small changes for Wholesome Meals. Hey guys, Sydney here, and today I am at the Bladen County Cooperative Extension office with my good friend Jessie Jones. She is our Family Consumer Science Agent in Bladen County. So thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad to help out.
So Jessie's going to be kind of filling in as I go on maternity leave. So we're going to film some shows together for this month, and then she's just going to take it over, and you guys will be in Bladen for the next couple of months. So what we're doing today, we just kind of picked some recipes that you could easily make small changes to make them a little bit more wholesome for you. So there's all kinds of recipes out there, right, and there's tons of things that we can do to make them fit more into our My Plate, kind of up the nutrition in those. So we have two recipes we're going to be doing, and one is a buffalo chicken pasta that we're going to start with, and then Jessie's going to work on an avocado toast recipe. So we'll go ahead, we'll start with this buffalo chicken pasta. Jessie's going to grate our cheese. We have some cheese that we're going to just hand grate in there. So pretty simple, but this recipe is from Budget Bites, so it's a really affordable recipe. I make a lot of Budget Bites stuff just because I like, the affordability of all the things that they have. But the other benefit of kind of knowing a little bit more about nutrition and how to make meals a little bit more nutritious is that I can take some of those recipes that we have and try to adjust them to be a little bit more My Plate friendly or nutrition friendly. So for this one, it was pretty good, but we're going to make a few changes to it, and I want to show you guys how you can easily do that in your recipes when you're at home. So you don't always have to follow a recipe to a T. You can always adjust it and make it healthier, more nutritious for you and your family. So pretty simple. We're just going to take the chicken, put it in a bowl. We are going to add a little bit of garlic powder. A lot of this I'm probably going to eyeball. So this is just half a teaspoon of garlic powder. We're going to do some onion powder, so another half a teaspoon of onion powder here. And then add a little bit of cayenne. So if you are not a real spicy person, of course this is buffalo chicken, so typically gonna have a little bit of a kick, but you could definitely omit this or do a little bit less cayenne pepper if you don't like spicy stuff. This is a whole half a teaspoon, which is a lot. I might go a little light. You think I should go?
I think that would be fine. That's a good thing about recipes is you can kind of adjust them to your taste preferences. You don't necessarily have to add everything to the exact amount.
Yeah, whatever your family enjoys. You could do different seasonings here. You could do, more of a seasoning if you like something more. Like for me, I love garlic powder, so it might be a situation I'm add extra garlic to it. We always say recipes aren't rules, right?
They're just kind of like a guideline.
Yes.
You could totally change up and use Cajun seasoning. So you could do a Cajun chicken pasta.
Ooh, yeah, that would be really good.
And I just want to note with the cheese, I like to grate my own cheese because with pre-shredded cheese, they usually add an anti-caking agent just so it doesn't stick and clump together. And two, if you shred your cheese on your own, it melts easier. But it's whatever you can get. I like the convenience of pre-shredded cheese too.
Yeah, sometimes it just depends on what I've got going on,
Right.
how lazy I'm really feeling with cooking. But yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like there's a big taste difference when I shred my own cheese. It does just, I don't know, it has more flavor to me.
Yes.
But it does melt a lot easier whenever you are using it in a recipe. Okay, so I'm just kind of mixing this so that all of those spices can get around. And I did just turn on my pan. So we want this to get pretty warm. We're going to add some oil. We're using a pot here. Our recipe calls for kind of a deep dish skillet. We didn't have one that was we felt would be quite deep enough for everything. So we're kind of doing this just in a pot, and it'll be a 1-dish meal, which is great, of course, so that we are not having a lot of stuff to clean up. So just did a little bit of olive oil in there.
And that's one of our flips. The recipe does call for 2 tablespoons of butter. So to swap to a healthier fat, we're using olive oil instead of butter.
Yes. So that's something simple that you can do at home. It's just, change up what you're cooking, the oil you're cooking in. We've talked about the seasonings already as well, which isn't really more nutritious. It's just adjusting for your preferences. So we're going to let this cook just for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be quite cooked all the way through. And then we will see you guys back in just a second to continue.
Announcing a super spring savings offer from Star Communications Security. Throughout the month of May, receive a free outdoor Wi-Fi camera when you purchase an alarm system with Total Connect video monitoring from Star. Experience the confidence of being able to see
and hear
what's going on at your home or business. All this from the convenience of a smartphone or mobile device. Do not miss out on savings valued at over $200. Be sure to sign up during the month of May to take advantage of this super spring savings.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we have our chicken looking good, looking like it's cooking up nicely. Again, we're just kind of browning that a little bit. It doesn't have to be fully cooked through at this point. It'll cook more as it simmers later. But our flip for this, or our small change we're making, we are going to be adding some mushrooms. So I just threw in a whole container of mushrooms. You can adjust this, however many you want. But since our recipe really doesn't have a ton of vegetables in it, the only vegetables we're really going to be adding are some tomatoes, and we're going to add a little bit extra green onions to it. Since our recipe doesn't really have a whole lot of vegetables, we were trying to think of how we can up the veggies in our dish. So peppers, Jessie and I were talking about kind of some veggies we would like. Peppers, onions.
Yeah, you could do the peppers in there. And that's like multiple colors. You could do red, orange, yellow, green. You could also do steamed broccoli as a side.
Or throw your broccoli into the pasta.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty common pairing, is broccoli in your pasta. That would be really tasty. Spinach, really any veggies that you enjoy. But I always say in my classes, that's a simple thing that you can do to really up the nutrition in your recipes, is think about, how can I add vegetables to this? Or what vegetables am I going to have in my dish that I'm going to be including? What vegetables will be in my meal? And that really, if we start to focus more on the veggies, getting more of those vegetables in, we're going to be getting a lot more vitamins and minerals. We're going to be getting a lot more fiber added to our meals as well. And all of those things are super important for our diet, and things that we really need to be getting more of in general. I think that's a pretty safe blanket statement. I think most people could use more veggies.
Right, and we want to eat a variety of vegetables, not just broccoli, not just bell pepper, not just carrots. Like, we want to eat the entire rainbow and multiple of the rainbow. So
yes.
We want to do carrots, orange bell pepper, we want to do yellow bell pepper, squash, zucchini, everything.
Yes.
Eggplants.
And every vegetable, different colors have different nutrients. They have different vitamins and minerals. So, you know, when we talk about eating a variety, it might not even be every day you have a variety of vegetables color-wise, but for the span of your whole week, think about how can I get a variety of colors. I always also think about my dish and how do I make my dish look more colorful. Yes. So what colors are in my dish right now? What could I add to this to make it a little bit more colorful? The broccoli would be great in this recipe because we've got a lot of orange. There's some red.
A lot
so
of contrast.
Green, would help it.
I'm going to go ahead and add these onions.
Okay, perfect. So Jessie chopped up some green onions for us. We are going to be using the tops later, but we went ahead and cut up the bottom as well. And we're going to use the bottoms in our dish. So this way we're utilizing more of that food. We've got less food waste. Right. We're upping, you know, the vegetables in our dish as well. And we're giving some extra flavor. Onions have a lot of flavor, so it helps to give that, add that to our recipe. All right, so our next step, we are gonna add uncooked pasta. We are doing 8 ounces here, so half of a box of pasta. Oh, lost a noodle. That looks like about half. I'm just eyeballing it. And we chose whole grain pasta today. So this is another kind of swap or small change that we made to make our recipe more wholesome. When you're using those whole grains, it really does help to add more fiber to your dish. And grains are actually linked to help with heart disease. They help to improve heart health. So we want to be adding more grains, whole grains into our diet.
And it also adds fiber to your diet, which is very important for digestion.
Yes. All right, so next I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of low sodium chicken broth. This is our other kind of swap. We tried to make sure that we were picking things that were low sodium, reduced sodium if possible, or no salt added.
And speaking of salt, cheese adds saltiness to a dish too. So because we have cheese in this recipe, we can add less salt.
All right, and then I'm adding a can of those tomatoes to this, and we're gonna use all the juice and everything in our tomatoes as well. So you're just adding that entire can. So little extra veggies here. Again, make sure you're buying the no salt added. And I'm just gonna stir all of that up, and we are gonna bring this to a simmer and throw our lid on top, and then it's just gonna cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. So until that pasta is cooked through, and then we will finish up our chicken, buffalo chicken recipe. So we're gonna take a break, and we will see you guys back in just a second. Hey guys, Sydney here, and we are doing a little survey that I hope that you guys can be a part of. So it's a quick survey. There's a QR code here that you can scan with your phone. What you're gonna be winning, we are gonna do a raffle where you can win a fancy knife set. So this is a knife set that I use. It's top of the line. I give it to all my volunteers, and I'm gonna be raffling at the end. So please complete our survey. Won't take much time, I promise, and we thank you for having us on At the Table.
Hey guys, welcome back. While the pasta is cooking, we're gonna work on the avocado toast. This is something that's really popular, but it's super healthy for you. Avocados have lots of great healthy fats in them. And I always hate trying to get the pit out of the avocado because I feel like I'm gonna chop my fingers off. But look at there we go. All right, so I've sliced open the avocado, and basically I will just slice it like this just to make it easier to get out. And today's recipe is a little bit of a variation. We're gonna add eggs on top of our avocado toast today. You can kind of add anything you want to it. You could add cottage cheese on the toast, whatever you wanted to do. I like to sprinkle some of the everything bagel seasoning on top of my avocado toast.
The benefit, I would definitely say, with us adding eggs or even adding something like cottage cheese, just toast and avocado on top is really, you're getting some healthy fats and some carbs, but you're not really getting a whole lot of protein with your breakfast.
Right.
So maybe you have a cup of yogurt on the side, you add these eggs to it. Find a way to, we really like, or I at least strive for more balance across my meals, having a good protein, healthy fat, and then some carbohydrates as well to give you that energy.
All right. Getting this peel off the avocado. I don't think there's really an easy way to do it. It just kind of depends on the ripeness of the avocado.
Yes. I'm doing the same over here with the egg. We have hard-boiled eggs. So we just did the traditional method of boiling on the stove. But another thing that you can try especially if you like to make a lot of hard-boiled eggs for the week, is to put it in if you have an electric pressure cooker, like an Instant Pot, you can put it in that. It actually helps the peel to come right off. I found that it peels so much more quickly and easily, no matter how old your eggs are. Mm-hmm. Typically, our older eggs are ones that are more difficult to get the peel off of. So I do when we looked it up, it was 5, 5, and 5. So you do 5 minutes of cook time, 5 minutes of just letting it naturally release from pressure, and then you let it cool in an ice bath for about 5 minutes, and then you're going to peel those. So it ends up being around the same amount of time as if you do the stovetop method.
Right.
But the flip side is it's easier to peel. Some people absolutely hate peeling eggs. So
yeah,
just something else that you could try. And that's another thing that you could do for the week if you are trying to kind of get some more protein in. Maybe you're not a huge breakfast person or you don't have time to cook a big breakfast. You could just boil some eggs for the week.
Eggs are a really great, quick, easy go-to breakfast. All right, I have the avocado pretty much mashed up. I like my avocado a little chunky. I don't like a paste. So there we go. And we're just gonna squirt a little bit of lemon juice here. That just helps keep it from browning. You don't want brown avocado. All right, great. So we'll set that aside and start working on the toast. It's really good to get a really crusty bread, something that's very hearty, that's going to stand up. And a trick I learned is you can always use this regular olive oil and brush it onto the bread, but if you have the spray olive oil, you can just kind of spray it on your one side of the bread and then on the other side. And then you're going to stick it into a skillet and turn it on to, I would say, medium high. You kind of have to play around with it. Every burner is a little different, and also depending on how toasty you want your bread.
And you could probably use a toaster as well. So
yes.
Again, kind of thinking about times purposes, if you're not somebody that has a lot of time to make breakfast in the morning,
right?
This might be a little bit more than you want to spend time on, so you could totally use a toaster if you have that.
Absolutely. You can use a toaster, you can use a toaster oven.
Yeah.
Any method works, just as long as you get toasty bread. And this bread is actually Asiago cheese bread, so it'll add a little bit of flavor, I think. So, and you can use any sort of bread. It doesn't have to be like a fancy bread. You can use whole grain, white bread, wheat bread.
And an easy way to, of course, we're thinking about those swaps, those small changes that you can make. You could use a whole grain bread here as well. Remember, we want at least half of our grains whole. So if you're not getting whole grain for your breakfast, maybe make sure that you're getting some whole grains for lunch or for dinner. But we're getting those good healthy fats with the avocado.
Yes. And
you can, of course, season that how you like. And then we've got our protein with our eggs. So we are still having a nice balanced meal.
Mm-hmm. And then you just watch your toast here in the skillet. This takes a little time.
So I think what we'll go ahead and do, we'll take a quick break and we will see you guys back in just a second to finish up both of our recipes.
Computer viruses, malware, and ransomware are out there. They're dangerous, and they can steal your identity and damage your equipment. Star Communications is now offering Protect IQ. The service adds an extra layer of protection to every device connected to your network, working quietly in the background. Star can help you protect yourself from the inside out with Protect IQ. Call Star today and take advantage of this free service when you sign up for whole home Wi-Fi with Star Communications.
All right, guys, we're back. Our toast is toasted now, and I'm just going to slice our egg. You can dice it, slice it, whatever suits you. All right. I'm going to take some of our mashed up avocado. While we were gone, I added a little bit of garlic powder to the avocado because I'm like Sydney, I love garlic powder, or I love garlic. All right, so we've got the avocado on the toast, and then we'll just lay the egg across the toast. And then if you have sesame seeds, you can always add some sesame seeds on top just to throw a little flair in there.
Yum.
So there we go. So there is our pretty avocado toast with our egg. And again, like I said, you can add cottage cheese to your toast on top of the avocado. You can scramble your eggs even. You could even fry your egg. It's just all your preference.
Yeah. This is a really good one just in general for a quick breakfast if you are looking for something more speedy, especially throughout the week. But absolutely, like you could make an egg or do really whatever you enjoy for your toast.
And you can make a big batch of the avocado. Just make sure you add that acid in there and like the lemon juice or the lime juice to keep it from browning, and just stick it in your fridge.
Perfect. Well, we have just a few more things we're going to add to our buffalo chicken. So not too much left. We're going to add some cream cheese. This was kind of our only cream cheese option, I think, at the grocery store. Yeah. So our recipe calls for you to cut it in chunks. If you aren't able to do that, we're using 4 ounces, which is usually about half a block of cream cheese. This is an 8-ounce container. So I'm just going to do, there it goes. I'm just going to do half of the container here. And we want that to get nice and melty. And while that's melting, we're going to also add just a few other things. And I'm just going to use a spoon so it'll kind of melt all the cream cheese on my spoon as well.
And if you're concerned about fat, you can always use the reduced fat sour cream, or not sour cream, cream cheese in this recipe. That's another wholesome flip.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so next we have a 1/4 cup of hot sauce. So we just have the buffalo style hot sauce here. You can use whatever your family enjoys. This is kind of my go-to at home as well. My husband likes all the really hot stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I am not I like the buffalo is a little bit more mild, in my opinion.
It is.
We do not have Worcestershire sauce today, but soy sauce is a great substitute. We're only using half a teaspoon anyway, so we don't need a ton. Another thing, I was just looking up what is exactly in our Worcestershire sauce, and it does have molasses. So there is a little bit of sweetener in there. I think coconut aminos, if you have those instead of soy sauce, that would be an excellent substitute because there is sugar in coconut aminos if you ever choose that over soy sauce. And then we're going to stir all of this up. And we basically just want our cheese to kind of get nice and melty. It looks delicious.
It does look really good.
Excited.
Smells good
this.
in here too.
Yeah.
Too bad we haven't figured out a way to send smells through the TV yet.
That would be so nice. You'll just have to make it yourself so you can experience it. All right. I will add, since we did mushrooms in this, we had a little more water in our recipe. The recipe actually calls for it to be the noodles to really soak up most of that water. So keep that in mind. Sometimes when we add extra vegetables, it can adjust the amount of water because vegetables have a lot of water in them. So that's going to naturally release when you're cooking. So I did just kind of pour out a little bit of that water anyways, just, so it wouldn't be as a watery of a dish. But that should not hold you back from trying new vegetables in your recipes and adjusting that way. Okay, last thing, I'm gonna add our shredded cheese, and we're gonna use about half a cup, so I'm just kind of gonna eyeball. If we decide we wanna have extra, maybe you could leave this on the side and people could add it to their dish. And
I'm a cheese girl. I love cheese.
Oh yes, me too. And another thing you can do for your kind of more nutritious swap for your cheese is, again, do the reduced fat option. That will cut out some of that saturated fat, which is really what we're mainly concerned regarding cheese and fat. Looks good. Just a little bit of green onions here on top. And if you want, you could also add some red pepper flakes. I think I'm going to leave these on the side, and we can add that, as we're eating it, as we're putting it in our bowl. So 2 really healthy, simple, nutritious, wholesome recipes for you. We made very mild changes to these to make them more nutritious. So never be scared to try new recipes at home. I hope this encourages you to find ways to up the nutrition in your own meals at home. So we will see you guys next time on At the Table right here in Bladen County.